My name is Cathleen DeSimone. I'm the mayor of the city of Attleboro, and I'm welcome everybody in the audience here this morning, and of course all our special guests. On behalf of the city of Attleboro in particular, I extend a sincere and hearty welcome to Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Education Secretary Tutwiler, and Elementary and Secondary Education Commissioner Martinez. We are proud to have you folks here in our big, beautiful, new, comprehensive Attleboro High School. Not too shabby, eh? Not too shabby. So most of you know this, particularly those of you who live here, that Attleboro has a long and proud history as an industrial city and a manufacturing hub. From humble beginnings in 1780, the city became the jewelry capital of the world. Although that industry has shifted over the years, our industrial base remains strong, and we are grateful to be home of several industrial manufacturing businesses like Attleboro Jewelers, Larson Tool, Engineering Materials Solutions, Sensata, Vitron, Metalor, Comtran, and Leach Gardner. At the same time, however, Attleboro is growing into an increasingly vibrant community centered around education. While the legacy of our industrial roots remains an important part of who we are, our education community has grown to include not only Attleboro Public Schools and this beautiful, amazing high school, but we're also home to Bristol Community College and Bridgewater State University. So we are indeed committed to education at all levels. And if you need further proof that we put our money where our mouth is, you should know this, that in 2018, 2/3 of Attleboro voters voted to approve a $260 million debt exclusion to build this school, and it was built through the pandemic with everything going on and opened shortly thereafter. We are clearly and literally very invested in our kids' education. As a gateway city, we know that our best future needs electricians, plumbers, mechanics, builders, and chefs. We know that our best future needs nurses, teachers, managers, librarians, and public safety professionals, but most important, in Attleboro, we know that our best future begins with a quality K-12 education that encourages and supports students to become creative thinkers, bold leaders, and inspired problem solvers. Indeed, that's not what we just need in our community. We need that in the Commonwealth and the country at large. I am truly grateful for all the wonderful Attleboro educators and school administrators who provide each of our students with a high-quality education every day. And I thank you all for being here. And I turn it over now to the superintendent, Mr. Sawyer.
Good morning and welcome. Attleboro is honored to host this event. When the city reached out to ask if we were interested, we were so enthusiastic to be able to show off what we do, and we agree that this is the perfect place for the state to launch this new initiative. But don't be fooled by this beautiful building. Attleboro makes its distinctions by doing more with less. And one of the ways that we accomplish such great things is that we have a very strong vision for what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And our portrait of a graduate, which we are still developing and building up, is one of the ways that we understand what it is that we're here to do, and it has become an important through line for the administration in explaining and making decisions. It's how we can explain to families what our priorities are. It is how we can explain to our staff why we choose the initiatives we do, and most importantly, it's our answer to our students why they need to learn what it is that we want them to learn. And so it makes great sense to us that the state is going in this direction, and we are very excited to learn more and to be a partner in that work. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant Governor Driscoll.
Thank you to Attleboro for hosting us, for the students who gave us that amazing tour, principal, the superintendent, the assistant principal who tagged along and made sure we didn't get lost. Just want to say how impressive, not just the building. Buildings are wonderful, and I'm so glad this community invested in an amazing facility that will be a gift to future generations. But the connection, the culture, the identity that folks have with the programs and potential outcomes for them as students. We heard that in your voice, the students who are here and who assisted us along the way on tours and classrooms. And that's pretty special. So congratulations on the work that you're doing and continue to do to make sure we're doing everything we can to ensure young adults have successful outcomes and can really thrive in the Commonwealth. That's so critical. And the folks you had here today, I think were also critical to be part of that learning journey. I'm so pleased to be joined by our Secretary of Education, no stranger to public schools, Pat Tutwiler, our commissioner of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed, I think maybe the 4th month on the job, Pedro Martinez. Mayor, it's always great to be with you. There's so many things happening in Attleboro that are part of your leadership, and super grateful that you're able to carve out time not only to be here, but to continue to be such a strong partner in the Commonwealth for the work that you're doing in healthcare and building strong communities. And all of what we do as an administration is really tied to having legislative support. I like to believe Massachusetts brings adult in the room energy when it comes to governing, and I'm grateful to have Senator Feeney, Rep. Hawkins, Rep. Scanlon here. I'm told Rep. Hawkins was a former teacher, so this is no stranger to classrooms either. And certainly members of our Board of Elementary and Secondary Ed, Chair Craven, and so many others who have participated in helping ensure that when we think about schools in Massachusetts, we're thinking about the ways we can help students thrive. And they do the hard grind work of policies and listening and trying to get it right every day as volunteers. And I'm grateful for that. And certainly thank you to the Grad Council, the Graduation Council members who were here for spending the last several months going back and forth with stakeholders across the state, listening, trying to understand how we get better. And I think it's really because of your efforts that we're here today. We're grateful for the continued leadership that you bring to bear to helping ensure that not only are we #1 in public when it comes to public schools, but that we're #1 for all. And we all know we've got some work to do. And this sort of phase 1 of Vision of a Graduate is really truly phase 1 that's been led by a lot of the feedback and a lot of the thinking that went into how do we get this right. I also want to offer just a huge thank you and moment of appreciation for all of the teachers, administrators, superintendents, and educators who are not only with us this morning, but those that are teaching in schools across Massachusetts. We cannot do this work effectively without your input. And as people on the ground doing the work every single day, striving to get better, we know that your voices are part of how we ensure that this next generation is able to move forward. So big round of applause for the folks doing the job in classrooms every day. You know, Governor Healey and I are so grateful to be in these positions, to be able to shape policies and resources and put Massachusetts in a position to continue to strive to be better. I do think there's something different about our state. I'm not a native of Massachusetts. I didn't grow up here. I'm a Navy brat, moved around quite a bit. But when I came to Massachusetts to go to college, like so many people do, there's something different here. We work hard every single day to make the impossible possible. We don't rest on laurels. We're a place that believes in science and healthcare and strives to ensure that we're investing in that next generation. We see that in our schools. We see that in the work we're doing. And I just think we really feel grateful to be able to live in a place and grow a family, be a woman, be a working parent. These are all things that Massachusetts has recently been ranked #1 in. And it's for good reason. We make investments in things that matter. And frankly, we make investments in things that we're not going to benefit from today. It's sort of like planting the seeds under the trees whose shade you will never sit. We are trying to make sure the investments we're making today continue to help that next generation and make us continue to be #1 in all of these areas. But notwithstanding impressive investments and real commitment to get better, we know that we still got learning gaps. They exist, especially in this post-pandemic world. And it's not just an attendance problem when we think about our young adults going to school. It's also an engagement problem. How do we ensure that you're going to school in a place that represents you, that where you can thrive, where your interests and passions can be met with real passion about what you can do with that? Now more than ever before, we're hearing from students about what they want out of their high school experience, not just the experience we all had. You know, everybody went to high school at some time in their life, and we tend to think of high school through that lens. And frankly, high school still looks a lot like it did when whoever the oldest person in this room is, and I hope it's not me, when they went to high school. And I think for those of us who had that experience, we also have to be willing to open up and listen. The world has changed, jobs, technology, and it is continuing to change when we think about the future of AI. And as that happens, how are we educating young adults? How are we ensuring that they have a place here? We know that today's students want hands-on learning. We saw it here. 98% of students are in exploratory programs in their freshman year, thinking about these CTE and career pathways. They want career experience. They want the tools and skills that'll set them up as the next generation of leaders. We know that even if you learn something that you don't want to do in the future by an experience in high school, that's a real plus. And today, I think we're really here to make sure you know, in the work of this K through 12 Graduation Council, we want to announce what we're thinking about when it comes to what a next high school graduate needs to know. This was developed with insights from our statewide K-12 graduation council. This vision of a graduate, which our Secretary Tutwiler and our commission will explore with you in more detail. This is really a roadmap for setting up the next generation of high schoolers to graduate prepared for whatever career path they choose. And as we work to figure out the exact details of what this graduation standard should look like in Massachusetts, this is a step forward, that we've got a framework, that we've got some goalposts, and that we want to hold ourselves accountable to. I can tell you that the governor and I have been really clear about some of the things that we think are important as the grad council does this work. One is it needs to be rigorous. Like, we're in Massachusetts, we've got an innovation economy. We cannot go backwards in terms of academic outcomes, making sure our students are prepared. Two, it needs to be uniformed. No matter what your zip code is, what your background is, where you live, you should know that a high school degree prepares you in the same way. And three, we got to be able to explain it in a way that is easy and clear for individuals to understand. Those of us who are working in policy positions in government, in the business community, folks need to understand what does it mean to graduate from high school in Massachusetts, and it needs to be fair and equitable when we think about where you live, what your background is. Everyone should have equal access and opportunity, and that's really, really key to us. Those are the qualities we need to ensure in an innovation economy. We are not another state where maybe a strong bat guarantees a middle-class income. We're a state that prides itself on innovation, and that means in order to thrive well into the future and have economic opportunities, we need to make sure you have those skills: collaboration, working together, all of the critical thinking skills in a 21st century economy. We want students to feel prepared when they graduate, to take on the workforce, or to feel empowered and confident in their futures, whatever it may be: higher ed, a career pathway. This is the roadmap that we think can help us demonstrate how to do that. And to be clear, we know this is only one step, and there's a bit of a process, and we're in the mood of go quick but don't hurry, right? We need to tackle this, but we want to make sure we get it right. And that it's something that we're proud of when we say, I'm a high school graduate in Massachusetts, something that provides the opportunities, the rich opportunities that exist, not just in Massachusetts, but in the world. More and more, we're a global economy. And so we think this is our opportunity to execute on what we're hearing from educators, from students, from families, and from community leaders about what they want for our young people. Massachusetts has always led the way in education, and this vision of a graduate builds on that legacy. So I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this. There's a lot of people in this auditorium who are doing the quiet work behind the scenes or the loud work behind the scenes, and we really appreciate your time, adding your talent to this. This is a reality, we believe, for our students to be successful, and I want to thank you all for your efforts helping us get this right. Our administration firmly believes that none of us are as smart as all of us, and when we put really smart people around the table, 9 times out of 10 we get it right. So thank you for your time, thank you for being here, and I'd now like to welcome our awesome, amazing, committed Secretary of Education, Pat Tutwiler, to the podium.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I'd like to invite you back to the microphone to say all of those wonderful adjectives about me again. And, well, good morning. How you all feeling? What is it, go blue? Is that, well, come on, students, help me out here. Is it go blue? Yeah, okay, all right, fine, go blue. I apologize to you, you just heard my name, and I know that there was some disappointment that it was not Shaquille O'Neal. I've been hearing the whispers as I walk through the hallways this morning, but no, my name is Pat Tutwiler, and I have the great pleasure of serving as your Secretary of Education. I want to begin with gratitude first to the teachers who are in the room or within earshot. Thank you, Happy New Year to you, and thank you for all that you do to support the young people that are sitting in this space here this morning. You don't hear it enough. I appreciate you. Thank you for the work that you do. I also want to extend my thanks to Superintendent Sawyer, Principal Levis, for welcoming us here for this important announcement here today. And I don't see them, but Christy, Destiny, Justin, and Kira are tour guides for today who were awesome and really elevate, yeah. Lieutenant Governor said it, this is an incredible building, and I spend time in a lot of high schools. This one is special. But what stood out to me is certainly the culture here, and that was very much on display with our tour guides. So thank you to them, and thank you to all who make this culture what it is. I also want to extend greetings to my board colleagues, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education colleagues who are here today, led by Chair Craven, who is here, and then also to my colleagues on the Grad Council. There are a number who I see seated here. Thank you for joining us here today, and thank you for the hours that you've put into delivering us to this point today. We still have work to do, but no doubt your volunteer time is greatly appreciated. Your expertise is greatly appreciated as well. Last November, we were handed a unique opportunity to redefine what it means to graduate from high school in Massachusetts. This was a chance to go back to the drawing board and ask fundamental questions like, what should students know and be able to do when they graduate from high school? What coursework and learning experiences should all students complete in order to be prepared for college, career, and civic life? How do we ensure that all students are meeting the same high standards for graduation? Now, as a former high school teacher and former high school principal, I can agree fully with what the LG said earlier, that elementary and middle school has definitely evolved over the years. The concept of high school, unfortunately, has not evolved as robustly. That's why Governor Healey launched the Reimagining High School initiative to bring the experiences of all high school students in line with what's happening in higher education and the rapidly evolving workforce. The one thing we've heard time and time again is that high school students want more of a connection with what they learned during the school day and what they may encounter when they graduate from high school, whether it's to higher education or directly to a career that interests them. And I want to say I saw that on full display during our visit here today, so congrats to Attleboro High School. Governor Healey's graduation council hit the ground running this spring and into the summer. We researched what other states are doing. We looked at our local districts to understand what they're doing. We listened and learned from the feedback we received from educators, from families, from students, advocates, community leaders, and other stakeholders. More than 6,600 people completed the statewide survey that we administered. The Graduation Council conducted 8 in-person listening sessions across the state and 2 virtual listening sessions, one of which was dedicated exclusively to students. The research and feedback helped us shape our vision of a Massachusetts high school graduate. Our vision consists of 6 key skills and competencies centered around 3 core qualities: thinkers, contributors, and leaders. The first benchmark for a student is to be academically prepared. Our graduates should have a strong foundation across diverse subjects and courses, equipping them with the knowledge and skills to be lifelong learners. That skill set should help them develop to be creative problem solvers with the ability to examine information, to draw connections and question assumptions, infer meaning, and shape solutions. We want our graduates to be self-aware navigators, understanding themselves, their strengths, and their opportunities to leverage their unique skills to navigate a variety of paths and environments. In addition, we want them to be intentional collaborators, able to engage respectfully and productively with a diversity of individuals and groups, recognizing the value of their unique perspectives, identities, and experiences, as well as those of others. Graduates should strive to be effective communicators, able to express ideas to a diverse audience confidently and clearly, as well as responsible decision makers, able to set and pursue goals and make a healthy and financially responsible choice as they go forward in their lives. Now, during one of our many listening sessions, a community organizer said really clearly, and I remember it like it was yesterday, young people deserve to feel empowered to thrive, not just survive. We believe that these 6 key skills and competencies will put our high school students on a path not just to thrive, but to realize their dreams and become successful, fulfilled, engaged members of the community. This is our vision, and as the Lieutenant Governor said, we still have work to do. The Graduation Council will unveil its initial findings for a statewide graduation standard later on this fall, with a final report and proposed roadmap the coming year. Our recommendations will include rigorous learning experiences and a mechanism to give us confidence that all students are meeting these high expectations. The Graduation Council is working to ensure that all Massachusetts graduates are truly prepared for college, careers, and civic life, no matter where they live or go to school. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, to be in community with all of you, to share this first important step in our work. It is now my honor to pass it on to you. And you heard the name Pedro Martinez earlier. I'm sorry, no Shaquille O'Neal, no baseball player, Pedro Martinez. He is, by the way, the newest member to Team Massachusetts, about 3.5 months on the job, and I think he's doing a great job. It's my pleasure to introduce our Commissioner of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Pedro Martinez.
Good morning, everyone. It is just such a treat to be here. Not only in this wonderful facility, but a high school that really, really lives to the vision that we all have for our students. So first of all, again, Attleboro High School, kudos to you. Superintendent Sawyer, superintendent told me he's been here, superintendent for 10 years, and I always say this, everybody, stability and leadership, it's that MasterCard commercial, it is priceless. So it is no doubt that the stability of the leadership has created a wonderful culture. Principal Levis, again, thank you for hosting us. Again, my name is Pedro Martinez, the Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education here in Massachusetts. Just finishing my 3rd month, everybody. I'm so excited and feel so blessed, everybody. You're looking at an inner city kid, whose parents had a 2nd grade education, first in his family to finish high school, to graduate from college, and here I am here in our wonderful Commonwealth of Massachusetts at a very pivotal time. I am so blessed, and I want to first thank our board, first of all, for being here, Chairwoman Craven, all our board members, the grad council that's here. My goodness, I mean, everybody, the number of hours between our board members and the grad council that are spending on this, and of course, our legislators. Students, I want you to understand the power that's in this room is an indication of how much we care about you, how much it drives our work. And of course, our teachers, our educators, our leaders here in the building is just a symbol of again, how dedicated we are to you. So again, I am the co-chair of the Statewide Graduation Council with the secretary. I started doing this role in July. Again, it's an amazing opportunity to set a true vision and really the direction of our Commonwealth for all of our graduates. It's been a privilege to get to know all of our council members. And for me, everybody, this is truly about equity. And what does that mean? And the secretary said this, that no matter where students are graduating from, whether it's in Boston, Springfield, the Berkshires, or Cape Cod, they had to have access to the same amazing opportunities. There is nothing crueler, everyone, than students that, we graduate as students and we think we have all the opportunities of our peers across the Commonwealth, and we don't. Right? So this is about equity and making sure that wherever our students graduate, they not only graduate prepared, but they're graduating with a significant advantage. As the secretary said, this is not just myself and the secretary creating the vision, creating this in isolation. This is with so much input from our community, from parents, from students, from our educators, from our business sector. Everybody coming together so that we can really form this vision. We know that so many of our districts have the visions, and the superintendent said this. Research is really clear, everybody. We could talk about facts, we could talk about some of the things we want to do, but people have to know why you're doing it. The why is what everybody always remembers and really drives, the things that we want. And so our vision sets the why. And so again, everybody, this was always in collaboration with so many stakeholders. So I'm going to just briefly touch again on the competencies that the Secretary mentioned. Again, being academically prepared, creative problem solvers, effective communicators, self-aware navigators, intentional collaborators, and responsible decision makers. These are not just words, everybody. What I love is so many of our teachers today, when they are thinking about whether, they're teaching algebra, they're teaching biology or English or one of our electives or one of our amazing career tech classes, they're thinking about how they're shaping our students as future leaders. And I can say that because I've seen, even as I visited multiple schools just in my first few months here, I can see that, and I saw that today. As we were walking through classrooms, not only in our career tech programs where you see students not only doing things that are actually that we know are gonna be relevant to what they wanna do. I met a future nurse, a future, pediatrician doctor. I've met, few students that wanna go into graphic design, that wanna go into business, but they can see the connections. But more importantly, they're also being taught to be, again, collaborators because they're working together. They're taught to be effective communicators. They're being really we're helping them become amazing leaders. So looking ahead, everybody, again, we want to make sure we double down on this. This is the very beginning. And I know our grad council members know we've had some really, really great conversations, including our student rep on the council. We've had some great conversations about, we start with a vision. We also want to make sure that students have access to the content to make sure they're prepared, because again, everybody, it's not right if our students don't have access to that content, whether it's higher education, whether it's entering the trades into wonderful work experiences, but they got to have access to the coursework. Whether it's also making sure that the level of rigor and that we're challenging our students is consistent across our Commonwealth. Look, we're very diverse. We're very diverse, right from the east to the west. We got to make sure that there's a consistency in terms of rigor and challenging our students. And, something that's really close to my heart, everybody, we also have to make sure that our students really can aspire, that they actually think about, what is it that they want to do and how do we help them with the advising and the counseling around a plan? Because everybody, all of us, I grew up in that era where people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I realize now, in my age, and with all the experience that I've had leading school districts across the country, that that's probably not the right question. The question is, what is it that just excites you? What is it that gives you joy? And then, let's tell you how you get there. So nursing, actually being a nurse and a maternity nurse, that's what gives you passion. Let's talk about what that looks like in terms of coursework. Let's talk about what that looks like from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. Opportunities with college courses while you're in high school. Opportunities with career tech programs while you're in high school. And then what that goes into in terms of the kind of degrees you need and the certifications. And that way, everybody, our students can see the path. And then it becomes their choice. So that's what this work is about. It's really empowering our students to find that joy. And look, I've met enough people. I see the excitement. I see the emotion and passion in our Commonwealth. I see sometimes some frustration as well. But I got to tell you, because I get to be around students and so many of our educators, I feel nothing but optimism and excitement for our future. And so with that, I want to bring Emily Olson, our amazing student representative here, who is a student leader in her own right. Let's give it a big hand for Emily Olson, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Emily Olson, and I'm a current senior at the amazing Attleboro High School, where the Portrait of a Graduate program has been in practice for years as a standard that we strive to live up to. As this enigmatic program is being implemented across our great state of Massachusetts, the intuitive question would be, what exactly is the portrait or vision of a graduate? To put a wide-ranging concept that spans from the first day of kindergarten to the moment an Attleboro graduate walks across the stage into a singular, succinct idea, the portrait or vision of a graduate is about the qualities that every graduate that comes out of Attleboro will have learned from their time in our schools. The values of communication, collaboration, innovation, and balance are keystone aspects of our multifaceted curriculum, clubs, and community. When I walk into a student council meeting any given Wednesday night, I can reliably expect to deal with communication hands-on. To get events and fundraisers running, we need to communicate with not just each other, but businesses and other community organizations. Possessing the skill of communication is essential for our club. While communication is a big aspect of this club, collaboration is another tenet that is equally important in our classes. Collaboration is necessary to succeed in a performing arts class like band. If we don't watch our conductor or help each other when mistakes are made, not a single note could be played. Working together doesn't just create good music. It fosters broader teamworking skills that can be applied anywhere. Innovation, another portrait of a graduate value, walks hand in hand with collaboration and communication. In my digital media vocational program, we constantly have to come up with ways to make our broadcasts fresh and exciting while staying grounded in the process of telling stories truthfully. When we innovate as a team, we come up with plenty of entertaining ideas of how to present our news stories, one of which includes an episode where we paid homage to our past in honor of the new year, where all of our anchors dressed up like we were straight out of the 1980s, weaving in clips of Attleboro High School's old news broadcast from the 80s. Totally tubular, I know. Balance is our final value, the one that brings it all together. From these activities, we take away valuable life lessons on time management, accountability, and determination, which take us far beyond Attleboro and out into the real world. Although these examples are from student council, band, and digital media production, they are not limited to these departments. The emphasis on Portrait of a Graduate's values can be found in each and every classroom at Attleboro High School. The Portrait for Graduates values ensure that in our ever-changing world, we aren't just ahead of the curve, we set the curve, propelling ourselves, our state, and our country as a whole into the future. Thank you all for your time, and now for our closing remarks, Mr. Craig Levis.
As a principal, how can you not be proud of Emily? And we have almost 2,100 students like Emily, so thank you, Emily, again. And I need to ask you what tubular means after this, though. She's an example of a student who has taken control of their learning experiences to prepare them for the next journey. And in closing, I wanted to highlight two areas that make Attleboro High School a unique place to learn and grow. First is our community. The culture that is developed is one of diversity, acceptance, and possibility. This is not only the result of tireless efforts of our students, families, educators, staff, and administration, but also due to the importance placed on education by our elected officials, our city departments, our community leaders and organizations, and most importantly, our residents. What we experience within this community is truly amazing. This is an environment where everyone, and I mean everyone, can thrive. Second, Attleboro Public Schools has recognized that our students, are much more than just a test score or a class rank. While formative and summative assessments are extremely important in providing high-quality instruction that targets student needs and also provides crucial information that drives our decision-making, the emphasis on our Portrait of a Graduate makes learning relevant to all students pre-K through graduation. Here at Attleboro High School, our students have the opportunity to create a pathway that meets their own unique and individual needs. As we heard Emily so eloquently, I'm not so eloquent, describe. An Attleboro High School graduate will have the skills and dispositions necessary to be successful in life on life's terms. So on behalf of the school committee, the elected officials, administration, faculty, and students, thank you for choosing Attleboro to launch the vision of a Massachusetts graduate. We are honored to be chosen out of the hundreds of high schools in our state. We take this work very seriously, one student at a time. Thank you.